All right, hey, welcome back. So this video is chapter 4, section 1, right teaching and right learning. And this is part 2. If you haven't listened to part 1, feel free to go back and listen to part 1. I have some really fun ideas in that video. And so we're going to continue on as if you have listened to part 1 and not reiterate the ideas that were shared there, but just continue forward. So we are on section 8. The ego tries to exploit all situations into forms of praise for itself in order to overcome its doubts. It will remain doubtful as long as you believe in its existence. You who made it cannot trust it because in your right mind you realize it is not real. The only sane solution is not to try to change reality, which is indeed a fearful attempt, but to accept it as it is. You are part of reality which stands unchanged beyond the reach of your ego, but within easy reach of spirit. When you are afraid, be still and know that God is real, and you are his beloved Son in whom he is well pleased. Do not let your ego dispute this, because the ego cannot know what is as far beyond its reach as you are. 9. God is not the author of fear. You are. Oof. You have chosen to create unlike him, and have therefore made fear for yourself. You are not at peace because you are not fulfilling your function. God gave you a very lofty function that you are not meeting. Your ego has chosen to be afraid instead of meeting it. When you awaken, you will not be able to understand this because it is literally incredible. Do not believe the incredible now. Any attempt to increase its believableness is merely to postpone the inevitable. The word inevitable is fearful to the ego, but joyous to the spirit. God is inevitable, and you cannot avoid him any more than he can avoid you. 10. The ego is afraid of the spirit's joy, because once you have experienced it, you will withdraw all protection from the ego and become totally without investment in fear. Your investment is great now because fear is a witness to the separation, and your ego rejoices when you witness to it. Leave it behind. Do not listen to it and do not preserve it. Listen only to God, who is as incapable of deception as is the spirit he created. Release yourself and release others. Do not present a false and unworthy picture of yourself to others, and do not accept such a picture of them yourself. 11. The ego has built a shabby and unsheltering home for you because it cannot build otherwise. Do not try to make this impoverished house stand. Its weakness is your strength. Only God could make a home that is worthy of his creations, who have chosen to leave it empty by their own dispossession. Yet his home will stand forever and is ready for you when you choose to enter it. Of this you can be wholly certain. God is as incapable of creating the perishable as the ego is of making the eternal. 12. Of your ego you can do nothing to save yourself or others, but of your spirit you can do everything for the salvation of both. Humility is a lesson for the ego, not for the spirit. Spirit is beyond humility because it recognizes its radiance and gladly sheds its light everywhere. The meek shall inherit the earth because their egos are humble, and this gives them truer perception. The kingdom of heaven is the spirit's right, whose beauty and dignity are far beyond doubt, beyond perception, and stand forever as the mark of the love of God for his creations, who are wholly worthy of him and only of him. Nothing else is sufficiently worthy to be a gift for a creation of God himself. 13. I will substitute for your ego if you wish, but never for your spirit. A father can safely leave a child with an elder brother who has shown himself responsible, but this involves no confusion about the child's origin. The brother can protect the child's body and his ego, but he does not confuse himself with the father because he does this. I can be entrusted with your body and your ego only because this enables you not to be concerned with them and lets me teach you their unimportance. I could not understand their importance to you if I had not once been tempted to believe in them myself. Let us undertake to learn this lesson together so we can be free of them together. I need devoted teachers who share my aim of healing the mind. Spirit is far beyond the need of your protection or mine. Remember this. In this world you need not have tribulation because I have overcome the world. That is why you should be of good cheer. And that is the end of section 1, right teaching and right learning. And so a few thoughts on this second half, the second part. I underlined quite a bit. One of the big takeaways I had was at the end of section 10, where it says, do not present a false and unworthy picture of yourself to others, and do not accept such a picture of them yourself. This is interesting because worthiness and unworthiness is a big idea in modern religious communities, where some religions, primarily Christianity, has this belief that we are unworthy creatures before God and we must come before him as humble, unworthy creatures and beg. And it's interesting to note that yes, the ego is unworthy, but the spirit is worthy, and the spirit is his creation, and the ego is something that we have created of our own accord, and it's not something that God lays claim for. And also that in section 9 it says, you have chosen to create unlike him and have therefore made fear for yourself. You're not at peace because you're not fulfilling your function. Basically, we created this fear with our ego, or with our belief in separation, and this fear is what puts us in a place of we're not worthy of him. And so to hold on to that ego belief is to continue the separation. Okay, there was a lot in this one. Let's see if there's anything else. Humility is a lesson for the ego, but not for the spirit. And spirit is beyond humility because it recognizes its radiance and gladly sheds its light everywhere, which reminded me of when Jesus says that you are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Let your light shine. Set your light on a candlestick, not under a bushel, but on the hill, so that all can see from it. And which is just such a different idea if you really stop and think about what he's telling us there. It's not to claim yourself unworthy. It's actually to claim yourself as a light. Set your light up, and not to put yourself above others, because in very close by verses he talks about the meek inheriting the earth because their egos are, blessed are the meek. And here it says the meek shall inherit the earth because their egos are humble, and this gives them truer perception. So it's really this balance of how do we be meek and humble and also let our light shine. And perhaps it's this balance of putting the ego in its rightful place and claiming the influence of our spirit and the Holy Spirit in connection with that. The last part, in this world you need not have tribulation because I have overcome the world. That is why you should be of good cheer. As I read this, I'm actually on the day after Ash Wednesday, which is when much of the Christian world celebrates Lent, the beginning of Lent. And I had a personal insight on this as well. I have attended Ash Wednesday services for about 10 years now, 9 or 10 years, I think. And in this season, I have felt led to not attend and to not enter a period of 40 days of mourning prior to Easter, prior to Good Friday. I noticed that a lot of the Christian world celebrates this and they honor this as a remembrance. And so I found the timing of this interesting, that I should be of good cheer because I have felt led to not participate in the mourning and to see what happens this year. Interestingly enough, I found that February and March are very difficult seasons the past, at least 10 to 15 years now. And so I'd like to see how this season goes, choosing to be of good cheer and to not enter into tribulation. In this world, you need not have tribulation because I have overcome the world. And that's exactly the revelation I felt, both from reading this and my time in prayer, just feeling like I don't need to be mournful. And so choosing out of that is what I intend to do for this season. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully this is like the best February and March and April that I've ever had. We'll see. Looking forward to it. So anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please feel free to share a comment and perhaps a comment from your spirit rather than your ego. Let's see how that goes. And we'll focus on that this chapter as we go through talking about the ego, practice setting the ego aside. See how that goes. Love to hear about it. All right. Lots of love. I hope you have a blessed day, and we'll see you tomorrow.